direct, straight from London, international on the web, discussing issues what you've brought to us concerning you. We want to say welcome to our guest panelists this morning, Barbara, who is one of our leading makeup artists to the stars and to the Everyday People team, who we've asked to join us today. Some of the piercing issues which we feel need to talk about and discuss. So the first area to discuss today is the area of polygamy. Polygamy, as far as we know it, it is one which a person has more than one wife or husband, and it's normally by area of consent. So I'm going to hand it over to the panel to get the discussion started. Remember to send us your views and what you think on all the issues we discussed today at EverydayPeopleUk@live.com, and tweet us also at EP_UK, or Facebook us on EverydayPeopleUK. Over to the panel. I think you could start, Deborah, because you always have something to say on that.
It's a big thing, and obviously it's done more obviously on the side of men, and it's more accepted on the side of men, because if a woman was to do it, she'd be called all the names under the sun, as we were saying. But if a man does it, it's more accepted, but it shouldn't be, because it is actually just greed, basically, and it's like, not everything you want, you must have. Do you get what I mean?
You're saying it's more accepted around men, and if a woman was to do it, it should be called something else. But polygamy, a woman can be a polygamist.
Yeah.
So,
but
if she so choose.
Yeah, we don't. If women do it, they're not obvious about it because they know the kind of feedback they will get. But men are very blatant about it. Like, some men would be like, okay, I want to grow up, get married. Some men are just like, no, I want 3 wives. They're just like that, but a woman wouldn't. I want to grow up and have 3 husbands. You don't.
No, why not? I'll probably be one of them.
Huh?
Drama. Who wants all that drama?
I have got strong views on polygamy, me myself. I for one don't agree with it. Yeah, it is a man's thing, but it's man-made ideas.
Yeah.
And I think it just boils down to greed, really.
It does.
Whereas it's alright for a man to do it where he's been considered as a stud, but a woman is considered a whore, which I think is not right at all.
I think that's debatable. Looking at the area of polygamy in the African context, it's a man might be able to have, obviously he has his chosen wife, the first wife, but he cannot take on a second wife unless the first wife agrees. And that second wife, he couldn't see, well, I see sexy Kemet, joke, not really. he can't really say, well, he's married to Deborah, or he's married to me, and he says, oh, I like Barbara, so I'm going to have her as a second wife. No, it's got to be a case of, well, hold on a minute, is Barbara left on her own? Is she a widower? If she's somebody that
Not
needs
everyone
children,
What can she add to this?
And not everyone takes that into consideration.
No.
There's some
But
men
the
that just do
idea
it.
is that the women that are married to the husband, they're supposed to be joined, it's supposed to be united.
A
Everyone's
union.
it's supposed to be a union of.
Not a lot of men follow that.
That's
They
what
just
should
go
be
on.
if you're
They
gonna-
just go on how they feel, because I was talking about it with one of my friends, and he said, as long as I have enough money and I can provide for them, I'm going to do it. That was his thing on it.
So
the
I
woman,
think that if they all agree with
the woman has no
then
say in it,
that's fine.
basically.
Yeah, the woman's supposed to have sex.
But
Yeah,
they
And I'm sure it was done under when there was a shortage of men to go around.
Yes.
I think it was used as that kind of tool so that women weren't left on their own. So
But now it's just more a case of greed,
So
basically.
they must have an understanding of, I mean, surely there must be jealousy.
Yeah,
it depends. It depends, and it goes back to that same old cliche. Because if I could very well go down with a polygamous relationship, because I would want someone to take off half the because I'd want someone to take half the work of me, because I'm only going to be the cooking and the cleaning, and I know for a fact that I'm not having any more children. So if I met someone and he wanted, he didn't have any children, he wanted to have children, I could quite happily go into a polygamous relationship at the same time, but I'm at the stage of my life where I'm okay either or either. But I know also, if I was to go into a polygamous relationship, that woman would have to love me as much as she loves the man. For example, if he's gonna supposed to be with me that evening, and he did something that I think is really out of order, and I put him in his place, and he says, well, I'm going to stay with Deborah tonight. You're supposed to say to him, move yourself and go back to Kemet, because as taught you, you're not treating her like that again. You're supposed to be my sister.
So you think the women should stick together in...
That's how it's supposed to. That's how it's supposed to be.
From what I understand of it, it's not always about, they don't always have the same relationship with each wife.
Exactly.
So it could be one wife's there for financial gain or whatever, the other wife is the child bearer, another wife is whatever. So it's not always that.
But do we think that in this day and age,
It's not...
No, I don't think
It's
so.
possible in this
It's
day and
possible,
age,
but it's not
but
necessary.
no, I think it's possible in this day and age, but is it possible in Western society? No, that's a
I
problem.
don't know.
But in Africa, polygamy is going on,
It's a
and in
norm.
southern countries, in southern
But
states
is it
of
practiced
America,
in the right way?
it's practiced in the
I
right
don't
way.
think so.
No,
I don't know.
I think so.
I'll
Because
tell
if
you.
you look at the world
Yeah.
today, how can something of that be practiced in the right
It's
way?
not.
I
It's
don't
not.
think
Why
it
can
is.
it not? If you're living in
Because
an
there's-
It's
African
supposed to
kingdom,
be.
and that's the history, that's the culture, and that's what they know. It's practiced in many African cultures today without a problem. But the problem, I think, in Western society, because of our upbringing, because of our train of thought, it cannot be practiced. I would not consider polygamy in Western society today. I can tell you that for a fact. Not happening. As much as I could see how polygamy would work, and if I was in an African, one of the African kingdoms, or in a polygamist culture, I could go down with it because I could understand the whole ethos of the concept around it. But in Western society, no, because I'll be frightened with some of you sisters with your back up, might be wanting to put something in my food. Do you understand me? And poisoning me at night.
I don't even
So,
think it's the sisters to be really worried about. I think it's the men. I think that men,
They're
not on a
screwed
level
on, right, to do that.
to take contact.
And they're not even going to do
I
it.
really don't.
They're not. I think with some of the Africans, I won't say it's a culture thing, because you have a lot of people. It was more a religion thing rather than a culture thing, because that's why it's not a culture, because that's why a lot of people with Africans, you get some that want to break away from their culture, but it's more religious, and then people just adopted it as a lifestyle, but they're not necessarily part of that religion.
I think it's a culture for the simple reason,
I think a lot of
because
people
even I think it's, I could get this wrong, but some audience member, please email me on this.
that would be
But I could get this wrong, but I'm sure that it's only post-Victorian times where polygamy was considered illegal. Before that, in all cultures, polygamy was the norm. And it wasn't based on religion, it's based on cultures.
I think it was brought in through religion, but through so many people doing it, it became a culture.
Because
I don't
I
think
disagree, because in post-Victorian times and so forth, and Asian, well not Asian, but probably 12th century Europe and all that, what religion are we talking about? Because they didn't have Christianity, and way before that, and they practiced polygamy. So, and African cultures is not the same, religions are not the same as Western religions, traditionally. So, that's why I have the issue about the religion side of it, and more of it being a culture side. But half of the people out there anyway, audiences, I believe are in a polygamous relationship.
They don't know.
And you don't know, because I have so many emails coming in about men, we've been with other women, and women complaining about their men. That's polygamy, and you don't know about it anyway.
But that's not polygamy, that's just cheating.
That's just cheating.
Half of it can't be cheating because they know. You women, you know.
No, a lot of women know.
They know. They know. And you accept it whether you realise it or not, because you're not saying to man, no, I hear that you're with Jane Bloggs down the road. I'm going, alright, Charlene, Laquita, down the road, and I'm stepping off. I don't hear you say that. So you're actually in an unconsensual polygamous relationship.
It's different because I think the men will turn around and say, well, no, I'm not. No, I ain't. That's just hearsay.
True.
So it's still...
But it's harder on the women. But the woman knows, I know, because you got a child for Shaquita, you got a child for Charlene.
But then the man's not
going
into
into
it.
it.
It's still not the same as polygamy.
No, I know,
It's
it's not,
both
because a man's not going
parties.
into it saying, I'm going to have a polygamous relationship.
No.
They're saying, we're going to have my woman.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying.
No, they're not saying that, but I'm saying, I agree, but they're still in a polygamous relationship.
Yeah,
but
that's
consensual polygamous relationship, because having more than one woman, they would still say, you're my wifey.
Yeah, but are you having more than one woman, or are you having more than one sexual partner? Because that's two different
They
things.
look at it as a woman because they're coming in, kicking off their shoes, have a key to so many people's different doors. So to me, it's still the same.
I think it's wrong either way because it's made, all it's done is made men too comfortable and like push women into a corner where women find it hard to have standards now because it's like, okay, you may know that you're not comfortable with a polygamous relationship and you let the man know that from the onset. And even though you may have built up something with him, he's like, all right, bye. But that's even before it gets to marriage. That's even dating. If you know that, oh, you're talking to this one, you're doing that, and you're doing this, and you let him know how you feel about it, and he goes his way, it's pushed you into a corner where even if you love him, you may be forced to accept it just because you have feelings, which is not right. But the men can go around doing whatever they want, and I think it's not right. And I think it's not. As much as it is practiced in a lot of African families and stuff, it's practiced a lot in the West as well. And I think a lot of black people have adopted it from the West as well, having like different families here and there, because you see it in our communities.
But also, you've got to wonder what these women really think about themselves.
I think it's a situation where they've had to make themselves okay with it, even if they're not, because they don't want to, one, lose that man, because of maybe the time and the effort and the feelings they put into it, or they even if they don't want the man, they don't want to see him with anybody else. So just to keep an eye on him, they'll just still be his girl kind of thing. So it really, polygamy puts the women in a hard place because we can't do the same thing, and the men are just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, because before it was a case of, oh, okay, if you can provide for each wife, then fine, do your thing. But now it's a case of, even if you can't provide, still go and sow your seeds everywhere.
Okay, let's go on to some comments that we're getting in, or some questions. This is Marvin, who says, I am a 22-year-old African-American male, and I love the thought of polygamy, but I find that the sisters out here are so against it. Why?
Well, we just told you.
Well, we just told you. Yeah.
Rewind.
Because it puts it doesn't do anything for the sisters.
No.
It does things for him
Yeah.
because he can go and sow his oats everywhere. And
And the
have
fact
his
that
own
Marvin, that you're only 22.
22.
Yeah,
You've got
but you
a lot
know it.
to-
So you have a lot to learn, and
Learn.
you're African American male, so you're in this westernized society. You have a lot to learn before you can even consider polygamy. You have a lot to learn on just one-to-one relationships. With everyday people.
Where you guys
But
trying to
how
take
do you
on
know
more than
that?
one woman, darling?
But Marvin might have been taking on more than one woman since he was 16. So he
Doesn't
may
make it
But
right.
it doesn't mean it's
But in
it's
the right
it's
way,
just-
though.
Yeah,
Because at
exactly.
16,
Yeah.
you could have been taking on
At
more than one
22,
woman,
you
but
can't
who
defend
was he
anyone.
providing for?
Exactly, it's
Exactly.
very true. That's what I said. Is it a thing of having multiple sexual partners
Yeah.
or having multiple
He needs to
women that
experience
you
it in real
actually
life.
partners
Come out of
that
that,
you have to
really.
provide for?
Come on.
Yeah.
But Marvin's asked him that he finds that sisters out here are so against it. He wants to know why they're so against it. Have we covered that?
I think
Yeah.
we have.
We have. Doesn't do anything
Have we?
for them.
Yeah.
It
Let's
doesn't.
conclude it.
We
for
said
him.
it
Yeah.
doesn't. The reason why women are not for it is because, number one, we can't do the same because we get looked at differently. Secondly,
But we can do the same. It's your
But-
choice whether you
no,
want to
no,
take
but-
on how you
No,
want
but
to
I don't think it's that. I think it's the fact of the women
It
don't
doesn't-
trust the men
Don't
enough.
trust the men enough.
And
Yeah.
I don't think that any woman would say that they trust their man to be openly honest about his relationship with other women.
other women,
And
yeah.
we're to the point where they're comfortable enough to allow another woman to come into the
But at the end of
relationship.
the day, who wants to share their man?
That's my thing.
No,
Bottom
women
line.
do.
No one wants
Not
to.
by
Not-
cooking and cleaning,
not
but
by
not
choice.
in Western
Because
society.
no, but guys, if you ask any guy, a guy doesn't want to share his woman. He doesn't
No.
want to hear you come in
Yeah,
and
that's
saying, "I've been
different.
at this
With
person,
my
this person."
husband.
No,
Yeah.
but he wouldn't be accepting of that. But so many women are accepting
Well, that's
of
because they've
the
been
man.
pushed into a corner.
You're not pushing in the
Well, I'm
corner.
not
You can
pushing into
step
a corner
off.
because I wouldn't accept it.
You never know. Okay, another opinion what we've got in from Linda. Linda says polygamy is a very selfish choice that only favours the man, as everyone else, which is wife, girlfriends or kids, is left feeling hurt, jealous, broken, or full of unhealthy competition.
If practiced in the wrong
Yeah,
way.
exactly. That's what I was saying. If it's practiced in the way it's supposed to be practiced, then I don't think that.
So
would be the case.
what do you think is the right way that polygamy should be
It's
practiced?
supposed to be a union. The women are supposed to be united. the man's supposed to be able to look after all of the women, all of the children. It's supposed to be a united front,
It's like
not
a community.
a community,
Yeah.
right?
Building a community.
I don't see how that.
I don't think it would work because why don't you just say?
In Africa for
Why?
centuries.
It works for me.
As Western
But we're not living in the same.
We're
We're not.
not really happy.
Yes.
My
Yes.
my parents came from polygamous
Yes.
families, yeah, and my mum would say she
Oh,
would
is
tell
it?
you categorically it was not a happy home. You have women try to kill each other, try to kill each
Yeah.
other's kids.
Yeah.
There is
I
never going
think
to be
because the
pure
spirit-
happiness.
But I think that because of the spirituality of all of our traditions and how we see each other and how we view each other has changed with the
Yeah.
impact of colonialization,
Yeah.
slavery,
But I
etc., etc. So I think our whole mindset has changed.
But I think deep down, no matter what century you're living in, no matter what generation you're from, as a human, you can't help but feel jealous when the
wait.
person that's meant to be yours
Yours.
is
I
someone
think
else.
yours.
I just think it's because of the times we're living in
Yeah,
now,
and
what
the
we've been through as a
mindset we have
people,
now.
because we're so jealous of each other for simple things anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's why that's why you can even take that
Yeah.
opinion to think that you would think that now. You don't know how you'd thought before
Yeah, if
we
you
were
live in another
infiltrated
time.
by white people.
If that's all you knew, but if that's all you knew is polygamy and everybody was brought up the same and there's a love for each other and a sense of community, then why would you
But
feel
like,
jealous?
okay, with my mum, her dad, she always says he was a very peaceful man. He tried, like, all he did for unity between them all. Obviously, they came in at different points in his life and whatnot, and he just wanted unity. And the women, obviously, they had the jealousy thing and whatnot, and they would do the children would do what they can to keep it civil, but she just made up her mind as a child that she wasn't going to be like that because of what she
But
saw
But they were
with the
legally
women.
coming. I think it has to be a very rigorous filtering system in place,
Yes.
you know, in order to go in that. It can't just be, oh, I choose that one, and are you a nice woman? Can you cook clean? You know.
Yeah.
And I think it
Yeah.
takes a level of maturity
Yeah.
for the women, I think, to be able to deal
Definitely.
with other women.
Yeah.
And if the man is handling it right and as he should, then and the women take on that viewpoint, then it could work.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it
in
can
conclusion
work.
to Marvin's question, he's not old enough to be
Yeah.
arguing.
Yeah.
with
And
the
in
question
the
because he can't
society,
provide
I
to
doubt
anyone.
that, Marvin, you're on that.
But
right
so
frame of
obviously
mind
these
to-
women have to be very strong individuals.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So as it stands, I think we can agree to differ that there's opposing opinions on polygamy. In Western society, no, it won't work. In other cultures that still got their traditions, maybe so, but that's still going back to the drawing board. Once again, email us at everydaypeopleuk@live.com, tweet us at EP_UK, and Facebook us at EverydayPeopleUK. Now we're going to ask the panel.
Okay, I have a question from Sharon, who lives in E10. Her question is, when is the right time to expect a marriage proposal? I am 40 and I have been with my partner for 11 years and I have had no marriage proposal up till now. I want it for the children more than anything else. That's what Sharon says from E10. Well, for me, Sharon, you've been together for 11 years, so from saying that there's been no proposal up until now, I'm wondering, has it been discussed? If it's been discussed and he has always said, no, he doesn't want a marriage, then me when I walk. Because if we're discussing it, it's something that I want. If I can see that it's something that you don't want, then bye-bye. We can just keep it moving.
I think it goes back, Sharon, to knowing what you want from a partner before you take up that partner.
Yeah.
Now, he could have been a man that never ever has any intentions to ever getting married. Had you known that in the beginning, you said to him, well, what are your intentions? I suppose you would have been young, because how old is Sharon?
40, so 11 years.
So you was in your 30s, still relatively young, but
Yeah.
old enough to know. But at that stage in your life, I would have been asking the person, well, do you believe in marriage and how you feel about so many different things? And from then you'd know whether he was a man that was really had any interest in marriage. Because far often we expect people to want to get married or think that's the norm.
Yeah.
And 99.9% of the time, whether it be male or women, a lot of people are not into marriage. So, Sharon, I would say that's something you should have discussed in the beginning.
In the beginning, before you spent
Yeah.
11 years in your life.
11 years, exactly.
Yeah, Because it should come out when you're having these discussions, as you said.
Exactly.
When you're getting to know someone,
Somebody,
even before you start dating,
you start talking.
getting to know a person.
And I don't know if Sharon wants marriage for the right reasons, because you said you want it for the children. Why would you want it for the children, Sharon? I don't think that's. I think that's an actual front. I think you really want it, Sharon, which you can, but
fine. Be honest about it.
be honest.
No, but she might want it for the children.
For what reason?
Because she might want to be for her.
Yeah, but
she's
also for her, which is why she pointed out that they've been together 11 years, because that's a big factor.
Yeah.
It's not just because of the children.
No, it might not just be because of the children, but it could be just because of the children as well, because you also have women that want to get married because they want the children to say, oh, my mum and dad's married, and they're, together. She might have no interest in
But I think you should have done that before you had the children, Sharon.
Yeah.
This has led me to think that these two people have never spoken.
Yeah.
Because after 11 years, you would
So
know
how do
the
they communicate then?
But you probably, I don't know, they might have spoken, but Sharon, are you really listening? Because after 5 years, if you marry you 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, what are you doing? Sharon, seriously, honestly, he don't even have to speak, because most of what we can learn is from the unspoken.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Sharon's not going to say not to marry the brother, but speak to him. Ask him today, I've been with you 11 years, I want marriage for these reasons, and know where he stands. But we're looking to hear from you next week, Sharon, to get an update on that. So please email us back again so we know what the result was. We hope you don't walk Sharon for the sake of the children, but if he's a good man and you want that commitment, please let us know how it went, okay? Second question, I think, to you, Barbara.
Right, this is from Laura from Antigua. She says, my friend has just met a man. She has been with him for less than 3 weeks. I've heard a lot of negatives about him from people who knows him well. Should I tell her that?
I would say
she probably knows already. Like,
I think she wants confirmation.
well, my experience, who is it from Antigua?
This is Laura from Antigua.
Laura, my experience would be saying nothing.
Don't
Keep
get
it strong. Past experiences when you're trying to protect your friend or anyone else, they will 90% of the time take the side of the man.
That's it.
Right? No matter what you say, they're not going to look at you as a sister and think you got their back. They'll come with this stuff like you got jealous, you must be this, you must be that, or you want it for yourself. That is the experience I've had with women. They're never going to think, well, you know what, she's really got my back as a sister. So I personally wouldn't say anything at this stage in my life, but if you feel the need, I mean, unless he's a mass murderer, then you're going to need to protect her. But I would like to hear again from you, Laura, to see what you've heard.
there's other ways she can do it. She doesn't have to necessarily say, I've heard this about him. Just say, make sure you look after yourself and be concerned for her and there for her. But you don't necessarily need to say
what you've heard and from who.
What would you do if her friend was to find out that she knew stuff about him and she didn't say? How would she then handle that?
So, but what if this friend has just been nasty?
I think it's about knowing a fine line how to handle it.
No, do you?
I think it's about knowing your friends, and you don't ever know them, because I mean, some of my friends I know I would definitely tell, because they would know. Well, you know what, she's got my back. I would say, you know what, if you want to be with him, and I'd always say that, be with him, because everybody acts different in different relationships. Be with him and see how it goes. But certain people, even if you think they're going to be alright, probably aren't going to be alright and going to think, well, you're trying to stir up. You don't know what the man's going to say. The man probably will flip it because and say, well, she said this and she said that. So for me, I've learned from past mistakes, don't say anything, because a woman is going to do what she's going to do and a man's going to do what he's going to do. I personally, if one of my friends told me, I'm taking it on board. I'll be like, really? And I want to find out for myself. You're letting me know, and I'm loving them even more for telling me, because I'm thinking they've got my back. But many women, they're so desperate, they're more going for what the man says.
I think that if she believes in herself, and she obviously likes this man, I think she should go directly to him and speak to him and just say to him, I've heard certain things, we need to talk about it, if it's true, blah blah blah.
But that depends if she knows him like that.
It's the friendship.
If it's all that she's heard, but I'm just thinking again, she pointed out that they've been together less than 3 weeks.
Yeah, but
that's a short time. If she's known her friend for longer, surely she should be able to tell her friend. If it was a case where she'd been with the guy for a long time and then she was hearing things like, then you tread carefully. But if you're my friend and you've only been with a guy for 3 weeks, I'll be like, well, be careful. But
there's a way that you approach it.
There's a way that you
approach it. But I still think that so many women, they could be with a guy for 2 days. They're just going to be so over and beyond with the guy. Like they're so flabbergasted that they're going to go against their friend and believe the guy. Because they're so just deluded.
And it all depends how strong her friendship is with
that's what I'm saying.
But there's no way. I know people, it could be even their sister that tell them, and they would have a problem with it and believe the man, because it goes back to your desperacy and believing in men more you do with a sister, as far as I'm concerned. So I won't play that game.
At the end of the day, she knows her friendship with the person she's talking about, her friend. If she knows that the person's likely to get offended, then she knows how to just be like, just ask about the relationship, how it's going. Oh, you can talk to me if anything. If she has a tight friendship, then she can say, you know what, I've heard this. Be careful. I'm not telling you split up with him, but just be careful. And if she tells him that, then she can't go wrong. She's done her bit as a friend.
That's happened to friends back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so, Laura, I would definitely say, keep it strong. Don't say a word, Laura. Watch the play, see how it goes, and then make an analysis from there and see whether you have to tell her. But it does really go back to knowing your friend. But be very careful, because it could backfire and your friend will blame you. I personally wouldn't. This panel wouldn't, because we know more about self. But there's loads of women out there that will still blame the woman and believe the man, even though they don't know anything about the man. Anything about the man. They will still back the man. Okay? So, any more questions? We got another one come up?
This is from Joan in Georgia, and she says, is there a way we could work towards polygamy for the benefit of our society, as we are losing so many of our black males through the prison system, crime and homosexuality? As a result, we are ending up with broken and dysfunctional homes and fatherless homes, having a knock-on effect on our society, etc. Could polygamy work to rebuild and reunite the community?
I think that goes back to what we said about polygamy being done, well, if those people that want to do it, if they do it in the right way, because as one person said, that it does have a carry-on effect on the children, the wives. There can be a very bitter air, which then the children can, they may not have the father figure around or their mother figure around, and then they have an excuse to kind of go and derail and then be like, oh, well, I didn't have my father there, that's why I'm in prison and all of this. So even if you choose, or you find yourself in a polygamous environment, still try and make the best of it, I would say, so it doesn't have the effect on the community that it has had.
Can we arrange these situations to help?
That's down to the people. That's down to the people. If you choose to be in it, or you find yourself in it, then it's up to you to make it positive. Don't say, oh, I found myself in a polygamous environment, therefore I'm gonna take it upon myself to make that woman's life hell. Don't do that. Make everything, turn it into a positive situation.
I don't think it can happen until we work together as a community anyway. Aside from that, and I think that until we can come together as a people and accept one another, that's not going to happen. Even for the benefit of us.
Issues that we have to deal with before we can even consider.
I personally, my view is that things work better. If you're in a polygamous environment and you make it work, fine. But my personal view is I won't go into a polygamous relationship because I know myself, and I don't think it will work. I will not happily be in that kind of situation, so I would rather go down the monogamous route and just keep myself to myself and my husband to me.
That's how it should be, really.
That's how I think it should be. But everyone's opinion is different, and if you want to go down that route, just make sure you do it the positive way.
I'd like to hear women's point of view on themselves being polygamous. That'd be polyandry as well. So that'd be a good view. So if you can email us, as we say, at everydaypeopleuk@live.com, tweet us at EP_UK, Facebook us at EverydayPeopleUk.co.uk. I'd like to say thank you to my panel. So it's bye from
Sinead,
bye from
Shannon,
bye from Deborah, bye from a special thank you, a big thank you and a big up to our guest panelist, Barbara, and we hope to have her back again soon.